sorry. Yeah, what is this episode? How did we get here? I see Tracer, a thunder thighs of a Raiden, and intimidating looking Scorpion from MK. What in the blue balls of all that is fuckery? What are the haberdashery and hemoglobin, as one Mr. Baker would say, is going on this episode of the Clout.WAV podcast? And yes, your hosts, they're here. They're here, live and in living color. I just wanted you guys to see the thumbnail so you guys would ask questions, talk amongst yourselves just a little bit in the chat and YouTube comment section. Because, I mean, let's face it, folks, we're not doing this stuff for the easy. We're not doing this for the cheap. We suffer for your entertainment. How you think that man got that racing chair right there? How you think my man upgraded his setup right there? Do you not see what he's rocking right there? Subtle fraudulence, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing okay, doing all right. Heard some interesting news today, so we're gonna have a fun day, right? I mean, the week's been nice. It's been chill. I'm just, mentally preparing myself for a very interesting and big event that's gonna happen early next month. So,
Talking about your
that's
Marvel
my
vs. Capcom 3 tournament?
Nah, man, I'm talking about the second shot that's going to take me out. So, once the microchip has finally fixed itself, you'll know I will have assimilated and I will have ascended to become the true fraudulent one.
You'll become the character that's on your shirt right now. You're going to rise up and you're going to make sure everybody else knows about
man. I'm not about to become a cosmic being. If that happens, it's over for all of you.
We're all just cooked, huh? No need to consult the elder gods. Just don't.
That's right. This ain't MK. I never consult the elder gods.
You are the elder gods, all of them.
Right. Elder gods are trash.
Well, at least you'll probably do something at the very least. But that being said, you heard about Overwatch 2? You heard about what's going on over there with that?
I heard some things, man.
All right, so today they recently unveiled some of their PvP things that are going to be going on, and one of the biggest changes right off front is that the days of 6v6, 2v2, all that good stuff are gone. It is now a 5v5. That's right, let me say it with my whole chest this time. It is a 5v5 battle game. That being said, they've introduced some new game types, which look kind of cool. But once again, there's going to be a lot more testing. They said, don't even worry about this game coming out in 2021 because that's not happening. No chance, no dice. They said, and I quote, 2022 at least. Which means this could bleed into 2023, maybe 2024 perhaps. I'm pretty sure it'll probably be 2022, probably late, maybe 2023. But they said 22 at the earliest. And I'm just like, why do we even bother even building hype for games that ain't gonna release for 3 or 4 years? Like, just keep that shit under wraps until it's in a almost releasable state, you know? Like, I just feel like we just out here releasing snippets of things way too early. I mean, look at Cyberpunk. That game had like shit that was being showed and promoted for like 8 years before we actually got anything even remotely near tangible.
I'm sorry. Oh, what is this video game that you're speaking of? I've not heard of this.
The one that got beamed up by beamed up off your PS4.
Oh, you're talking about the CD Projekt Red controversy. Talking about that half a video game that we got where they're like, sorry guys, we didn't finish the rest because we didn't have time. So we're gonna fix that for you over the course of a few months. Oh shit, someone hacked our shit. We can't do it.
Here's the thing. On PC, it's okay. It's not so bad on PS5 and Xbox Series
X. Hold on. That's because modders are literally making the game into what it's supposed to be now.
Yeah, over there on PC, Xbox and PS4 or PS5, they were struggling in some places, but they eventually got over the hump a little bit. The PS4 version that might as well have been just a terrorist attack, crime against humanity in some way, shape, or form, because that shit should just never happen. I'm not too sure about the Xbox One version of the game. I literally heard nothing about that. I don't even think anyone bought that one. But if you did, hey, you can let us know. You can holla at us real quick about it. But ultimately, being honest, that game was aggressively mediocre to moderately okay. And you can't have that much buildup, that much money, that much hype, and just be a fart in the wind. Like, that's doing too much. People were what 2.5 generations of consoles were super excited and stoked to hear about this game, want to be in this game, wanted to finally feel what it's like to live in a cyberpunk area, and just finally feeling what it's like to truly be in a gritty, dark sci-fi world and fulfill and just have a nice little aside of fulfilling mythos to boot. And you didn't get that. You didn't get a lick of that, not even a little bo peep of it. But hey, maybe,
Got
just
Keanu
maybe.
Reeves.
Look, man, that could have been anybody. That could have been Jeff Goldblum. That could have been that could have been you. That could have been that. It being Keanu Reeves only served for that man to just say, "Well, check this out." That was it. It was only for that live action segment and the meme that came along with it. Because in game, okay, it's Keanu Reeves. Did that make me want to buy the game more? No, absolutely not. That was more of a, that's neat. But Keanu
You're right.
Reeves is not a selling point of any fucking thing. It's not. It's not.
I don't know what you're
It's
talking
not.
about, man. The Matrix trilogy is Keanu Reeves' selling point. What are you talking about? There's a sequel coming out, and Keanu Reeves is going to be in it.
Notice you said that was Keanu Reeves' selling point, not the Matrix selling point. I rest my case.
Well, glad you caught that.
Yeah, I'm out here, man. Brain is large. But anyways, so the thing about the Overwatch 2 is that it's going to be 5v5. I will say that all the maps that they showed look infinitely better than all the post-release maps that we have gotten in Overwatch 1. Because as we know, Havana's okay. Lunar Colony sucks. Eichenwald sucks. And this may be a hot take. Paris sucks major ass. Worst maps I ever did fucking see. And it seems as though they've rectified this. They've gone back to the drawing board, and the design philosophy seems to have evolved in such a way where I'm like, okay, kind of liking what I'm seeing. But at the same time, there are some decisions that, like, once again, it's going to be one of those things where we're going to have to get our hands on it. We're going to have to see more footage of it. But the way the teams are breaking down in 5v5 is that it's 1 tank, 2 DPS, and 2 supports. Now, I know what some of you may be saying. Okay, so there's literally a character with a giant fucking shield that protects his team. That's Reinhardt. There's another character with a fucking shield that could go out in front of him. He can absorb things for his team, and he can CC people off the point, whether it's via rock or his ult. How do the other tanks that can't shield as well fare as a solo tank? I feel as though some of these tanks basically are, if you pick them, you're throwing, i.e. Diva, Zarya, Roadhog, where to pick these tanks, you have to play in a much more selfish manner and can no longer be a team player or play the role known as, tank, which there is only one of. And the design philosophy choice behind this stems from the fact that they didn't want double shield. They said that they noticed double shield made things too campy, made things too slow. They want to speed it up. They don't want to have people just shooting a shield for the most of the match, waiting for just a small sliver in time where players are actually allowed to, do something. And they just want people to actually get right to it, right off rip. Ryan's shield is down to 1200 HP. So if you got 5 people blasting at it, it won't be up long. So you don't have to worry about people sitting at choke points for 30 minutes just to move 2 feet, just to get a small little vantage points to turn the tide of battle. So ultimately, is it interesting? Sure. We're going to need to see the execution on that. Because a handful of games by people who you handpicked to come try the game out is not really going to be indicative of what the actual populace, whether you're a scrub, new to the series, or a seasoned vet, a top 500 player, is going to do when they, once again, are in their respective ELOs, lobbies for ranked, yada, yada, so on and so forth. But how did you feel? You said you had something to say about the double shield aspect.
Funny you mentioned the double shield aspect, because the presentation for Overwatch 2 starts off with a cutscene. A cutscene where you got, Mei and you have Winston and they're on a plane. There's some paraphernalia from the other members of the team. And it's like, well, it seems like we're going about this alone. But if you guys are going to show up, please, now is the time, right? They get off the plane, and robots are there, and then the team shows up, right? And there is a very specific moment where Bridget and Reinhardt standing next to each other,
Hmm.
and Bridget says, "Let's pull out." Bridget says to pull out the shields, and they specifically use double shields to
Okay, well,
shield the
here's the
whole
thing.
team.
Well, here's the thing. Brigitte's not a tank. That's different. Brigitte is a support, so technically she doesn't count, and her shield
see,
only protects her.
see, I don't
See,
think they're going to stick to that kind of like logic, though. I think they're going to have other characters that have tools that basically function as like double shield meta of before. Like something, there's going to have a character with some sort of like special ability that's going to fit into that role that the second Reinhardt would do or second tank would do on that team. It'll have like these mixes like Brigitte, who can be tanky, but she's meant to be a healer or meant to be support. Can be DPS, but they have tank abilities and things of that nature. So
I highly doubt it. But this is also Overwatch. They were like, "Yeah, man, play whatever you want, man. You can have 6 Torbs, whatever. It's ranked.
huh?
It's fine."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and then it turned into, "All right, that's crazy. All right, now you can play whatever you want, but you're locked to one per team." And they're like, "All right, goats meta has showed up. All right, we're not gonna do that anymore. Now it's 2-2-2." And then the next game, 5v5, suck our nuts.
Literally. Like,
What?
hey, you guys are having too much fun over there. We got to stop that. Also, all the footage I've seen of Overwatch 2 is just like upgraded, like a patched Overwatch 1, which I
Well,
know that we've like made comments about this, that is basically going to be the same. But I didn't want to be right about that. Like,
well, here's the thing.
uh,
It's not about being right about that. They've said it from the jump. If you own Overwatch 1, you will just have to deal with the fact that when Overwatch 2 comes out, your game's just going to auto update to Overwatch 2. Overwatch
uh,
1 will not exist. You will
Overwatch
just
1
have
is now
Overwatch 2.
obsolete.
However, it will be free and you don't have to pay for it. But if you want to do the story mode and all the little campaign like modes where you're playing with other players or doing it solo and doing the time trial and all that stuff, then you will need to pay your $59.99 or $69, however much they're going to charge for this AAA extravaganza. But as if you already bought Overwatch, then you should be able to step up to Overwatch 2's Overwatch competitive and just regular queues for free. That's what they've said thus far. So it being basically a large patch makes sense. However, for those of you who like the 6v6 and don't want to see a changing of the guard, I have good news for you. They have shown that there is a playlist in there called Overwatch Classic, which will be the traditional 6v6 format. Now, I don't know if that's going to be any heroes, no limits, or 2-2-2. I have no idea. I'm not even going to pretend to guess on that. But maybe they'll have patch selects, rule selects, or maybe you'll have to venture into the custom game lobby surveys. So who knows? But I'm sure whatever it is that you like, there'll be something out there somewhere. Now, I know what you were saying earlier that when people are like, well, okay, well, we were talking about the tanks. Aren't some of those tanks obsolete? Well, I have good news for you. No, they're not, because a lot of the tanks got buffed. For example, Zarya has 2 charges of both bubbles active at the start. So they kind of like Tracer Blinks, instead of have 3, you have 2 stocks of 2. And there's no cooldown on the 2 stocks of 2, but they each take their normal cooldown time to come back. So if you're in a
Right.
fight and you're Zarya, you can pop a bubble. As soon as that bubble goes down, pop another bubble. And then just wait your 8 seconds to get your next bubble. Or you can have a teammate who needs to get out. Or if you have a Mercy that needs to res, now you have 2 bubbles to protect that Mercy. So there's a lot of things that are going to be very interesting to see how the meta gets shaken up. Just due to the simple fact that there's so many nuanced changes that are going to be happening in the game. Because we looked at the tanks, like some of the characters are getting brand new abilities and some characters are getting reworks. For example, Mei can no longer freeze people with left click. That's right, folks. I'm just as shocked as you.
The
She can.
game is changed. Overwatch 2 is now finally here.
So she can slow people down, and they take damage while having like a frost effect on them. So basically, like they're dying of hypothermia over here. They're freezing. They're freezing their nips off out here, and they're going to be slowed. And basically, being frozen or slowed is going to cause bigger ticks and damage. And I believe the only way she can freeze people now is by using her actual ult. So it's going to be less annoying for a lot of characters to have to deal with that, especially when May's like right on top of you. You won't necessarily feel as helpless or susceptible to just being frozen locked. And yes, anybody who's a Roadhog player, y'all know what I'm talking about. You try to run away, you get frozen, she can't kill you. You take a couple steps, and if your hook is on cooldown, she just freezes you again, and you make a so tasty and delicious ult farm. It's so nice, she'll freeze you twice. Get a couple of headshots, and now you're sitting in the spawn room looking dumb, knowing you done given this chick about 15 to 30% of her ult, and the next team fight isn't going to go well for your team. It's going to be very ugly. So they've done stuff to alleviate that. Like I said, it feels like they're trying to speed up the game because without there being double shield, all of your DPS are going to be getting a lot of ults faster. And since people are getting hit a lot more often, your supports are going to be getting their ults faster. And since all the tanks seem to be upgraded to fighting shape, where they're going to be able to swing, do things, and have to worry about just being, I will protect you team, and babysitting the rest of the squad, they will be getting their ults faster because, as we said, D.Va's defense matrix looks like it's like Ryan Shield. You can just put it down, drop it, pull it up, drop it, pull it up, hold it for a few seconds, drop it. As we talked about, the doubling the utility of Zarya's bubbles. I didn't really get to see what Roadhog does. Roadhog looks exactly the same, but he has thick fat. All tanks take like, I want to say it's like 25% less damage per each bullet. Very similar to the Fortify ability in Apex Legends with Gibby and Caustic. And the other big thing that I think is worth noting is, I don't know why they did this, but I guess it makes sense because you can only have one tank. They gave Winston a charge rifle. He has a secondary click now, where if you right click, he shoots an electric burst at an opponent that's meant for mid-range engagements. So if there's so if there's a fair flying overhead, you don't have to like try to jump up there, bubble her, and do all this weird like this Omega weird Mondo brain zap punch melee combo. You can just say, you know what? I'm sick of your shit. Hold this right click, get your, I think it does like 50 to 60 damage. Get your kill, confirm it, whatever you got to do. You see a Mercy going in the back and you don't want to necessarily commit to a jump on them because you know they're low. You can go ahead and right click them. So, once again, he's got utility there. Reinhardt is a whole new beast. Sure, his shield may read a lesser number, but boy, everything he got makes up for it in spades. Because my man can basically do a U-turn. Like, he can drift with his charge. Like, it's no longer a slight veer left, slight veer right. My man can move. He also has a charge cancel. Oh, what's that? My charge sucks? Let me go ahead and cancel it. What's that? I've charged someone and I'm right at the edge, and if I stop now, I can throw you off without putting myself to the same fate? You can do that. He has 2 charges on his Fire Strike, which means number 1, number 2. Man's a whole different beast. I don't know who this man is, but he looks very crispy. And I feel as though they made a lot of these changes because I think right now the lowest demographic of players in the player base are the tanks. Why? Because as it stands right now, it feels like in most games, at most elos, it's a race to see who can pick the Zarya or Roadhog first, and then the other person has to now begrudgingly pick the shield, or I'm picking this character as well, and we're just going to deal with it with Roadhog Zarya, and I'm not switching no matter how bad it gets, and now the 2 tanks are in a game of chicken on who's going to switch first. And then when they inevitably don't switch and they lose, then the other team will just type tank difference in the chat. Y'all know the vibes. You know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. But yeah, like, Overwatch 2 is definitely looking very different. I see some things I like. I see
They
some
also
things I
mentioned
don't
the
like.
new character that they revealed forever ago. They actually showed some gameplay. That character has a railgun. I don't remember if the character is supposed to be support or DPS, but the character has a railgun. So, um, yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the game develops with this new character, and if they're going to add new characters going forward, or if they're just going to like keep buffing or like changing
Well,
existing
they're going to
characters.
add new characters. Like, I mean, they've been adding new characters throughout the entirety of Overwatch London's lifespan, and
Yeah,
you already know that they know their audience. The Overwatch fan base, the fandom, they are lore fiends. They see any character, even if they're just like a background NPC at somebody's cutscene, they're gonna be like, "Wow, who's that? What do they do? Do they have abilities? Oh my god!" Like that's what they're gonna want to have. Not to mention, they really probably need to fill out their rogues gallery a little bit more because right now, when it comes to people who are out of their way, vehemently evil, it's kind of very limited who they have on that roster because right now it just kind of seems like it's Reaper, which even that has an asterisk about it, Widowmaker, Sombra, who's once again there's an asterisk there. They're very under their own self interest. Doomfist, and that's about the long and short of it. I'm sure there's someone else who will probably figure out one, but no one who quite screams big bad. And you know, big bad is definitely going to be something they're going to want to have be playable in the hands of pretty much anybody out there as soon as this game gets launched. That and there's so many characters who are in these comics and these cinematics who are supposed to be important, but they haven't really fleshed them out. And now they're having a story mode. You're going to get to meet a lot of characters that we probably have never heard of, or maybe we've seen some hidden tidbits in certain comics, web issues, whatever, so have you, and so forth. So yeah, I think there's a almost infinite plethora of opportunities for them to drop new characters on us. Now, whether they'll be balanced or not remains to be seen. I'll tell you that right now. Remains to be seen.
so the thing about these like new characters that are going to be introduced in the story is that there is a chance that they'll give us the Guilty Gear treatment, where it's going to be like, hey, who's that cool person? I wonder if I can play with them. No. Hey, who's that cool person? I wonder like what they do in the story and if I can play with them.
No.
No, thank you. You will not figure out either of those things. That's a cool person. Anyways, moving on. Like
They don't
so
really exist. They were never
exactly.
here.
I don't know if like within like the first, I don't know, let's say like month, 2 months, if they're gonna introduce new characters. Like if like the base roster of the game is gonna have new characters besides the one that they already revealed. But it'd be cool if they do. I'm not expecting them to do a lot at first because it seems like they're focused right now on changing the game around so that it looks like a real Overwatch 2 and not, what we all expected, which would be like a reskinned Overwatch 1. So, oh, I mean, if they introduce new characters, that'd be cool. Maybe Trace's girlfriend's gonna show up and like bust out the bust out the cannon and just
Yeah,
do
man.
some work out
Just she just bust out the chopper. One's the tracer, the other one's the eraser. You know what it is. Like
exactly.
you could do it. But that being said, like being 100% legitimate, am I excited to see Overwatch 2? Sure, I'm sure we all are. But it's not coming anytime soon. I know we talked about this earlier, but I just need to reiterate. They said at least 2022, which means this could trickle into 23, maybe even 24. Who knows when we'll see this game? For all we know, the game is a lie, just like the cake, and we'll never see it. Ever. It could go in the vault. After COVID, COVID taught me never underestimate a game's development. Never underestimate it. Star Citizen still ain't here, fam. Still.
Oh
Still to
man,
this day.
it's cool, guys. Mark Hamill is going to be in that video game. Don't worry.
Exactly. And No Man's Sky was supposed to be the most awful, most hated game of all time that gamers were supposed to shed all their vitriol and just unload upon with righteous fury and an undoubtedly
Hey
an
now,
unparalleled
hey
anchor
now,
of all for all
hey now.
times. And then
It
what does that
was
development studio do? They come
was
out, put the nose to the grindstone, and make it relatively acceptable.
yeah.
So I can't. When it comes to game development, there is no bar anymore. There just is no bar. I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you.
CD Projekt Red
What, you're
disappointed
subbing?
us, so
Really?
anything can happen now.
I hope you can hear
But
me shredding
Naji
your fiber
Uzumaki,
right
I
now.
appreciate the sub.
Let's
I
go into the
really do.
shredder.
Thank you for checking in on the podcast. But pushing that all to the left, I gotta ask you this question, man. I gotta ask you this question.
All right.
So when you sit back and you think about esports, I know there's that funny word again, and you think about tournaments, and you know how one of the common things that people are doing these days are these women-only esports tournaments, to try to get women more comfortable with coming out to a lot of these events, correct? You've heard about these, right?
I've heard about that. I've seen them. I've been to some. Well, no, I haven't been to some. I've seen them.
Okay. Well, then you know how this normally goes. It's a nice time for the community to build themselves up and, meet new faces, give some new people some shine, and maybe find out about some, let's just say, diamonds in the rough out there,
Yeah.
And, well, what if I told you that there was a tournament for Mortal Kombat 11 that was called the Theme Fatality Tournament, which is an all-women NRS event hosted by Infinity and various others, and boy, it was on and popping until someone decided they wanted to turn into a catfish in the middle of the tournament, in the middle of the bracket.
Oh.
Now, hold on now. I know some of
Wait,
y'all.
pause. I have a very relevant story. A
Okay.
similar situation involving Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. You see, there is a certain player that got banned from a very big tournament called Evo, who actually signed up for the tournament. Then his girlfriend, I believe, or a girl that was like his friend, signed up for the tournament also. And then she was like, "Hey, you know what? We're out of pools now. Why don't you just take my spot and just play for me?" And he did that, and then someone was like, "Hey, wait, hold on a second. I played that guy this morning. What are you doing over here?" And the rest is history. He got banned. So
Yeah,
sounds
man.
like you're telling me a similar story here.
Well, no, because see, what you're describing is an instance of double jeopardy. You're talking about someone who decided to enter the tournament twice under two different names, doubling up on their chances. Even though the second opportunity was afforded to them by someone else dropping out of the tournament, this is different. This is someone who signed up for the tournament, had every intention of playing in the tournament. Everyone knows that they are a Sonya player because even in their bio they put Sonya Prodigy or Sonya Goddess or whatever she put.
Did you see my big banner of Sonya up here? Obviously, I play Kung Lao.
And it's like, Cabal? Why are you playing Cabal? When did you pick up a Cabal? Now, the
This
reason
is
why...
my pocket Cabal. Right out of my pocket and right to you.
So, the reason why we bring this up is because out of nowhere, apparently, this lady named Dream Piece decided to say, I'm not confident in my abilities and I don't think I'm good enough. So instead of bowing out of the tournament or saying, hey, you know what, I just feel like I'm gonna take the L this time, or better yet, playing the tournament out and just seeing how the cookie crumbles, so to speak, they decide to ask their boyfriend, who is also apparently really good at the game, to play in their stead. And they didn't apologize. They were trying to win. They were trying to scam some W's. But the only reason why they seem to have come out recently with the apology is because, well, they were called on it. And it did not look good for them at all. Because Eva and various others
Joe
like, nah.
Budden situation.
Yeah. Nah, man, there's no Rory and Maul in this one. But yeah, so they end up calling them out. They be like, hey, yo, this is fucked up. How could y'all do this? And then basically the dude's like, hey, man, my girl asked, and, I was just doing a favor. She seemed like she really needed this one. So, I was trying to bring it home, And it was like, it seems like y'all only apologizing because not only did you get caught, you didn't even win. You cheated,
Right.
and you didn't even secure the W, number one. Number two, if y'all would have won, would y'all have been so transparent? Or would y'all have walked away with the money? Would y'all have just added the TO, said, yo, this is our Cash App right here? Go ahead and pay us up, and then act like it never happened. And then,
or would you be the person who was like, hey, I know we just won your tournament, this prestigious tournament that you've thrown, but you need to give it to second place because
but here's the weird thing. But here's the weird thing. Apparently, they had gone in this premeditated because before the tournament, she said, I'm going to cook with Cabal. And then he replied with, yep, I know you will. And it's like, so y'all went in here a couple of days in advance knowing that this is how it was going down.
Setting yourself up. You
y'all,
see?
It's like y'all
on yourself.
It's like y'all thought it was going to be awkward if you just started playing Cabal. So you had to put out a tweet saying you're going to cook with Cabal. Even though your profile still to this day says like Sonya Goddess or whatever, which I think is weird, but whatever, I'm gonna let people be them. But the thing that was like really, really odd about this situation is that so many people came out the woodwork to have commentary on it. Because some people were saying, of course, it's just like all of you dirty men to come out here and ruin our events. And people were like, whoa. It was her idea. What do you mean, men? What? Don't get me wrong. A man definitely helped her cheat. But are you telling me that man just grabbed her and yoked her up and said, you're not good enough for combat, and then just chucked her out the window and then just started playing on a PS4? Because that's not how those story of events went. That is not how that went. So then you have other people who are talking about, yeah, oh my God, both these people should be banned. Oh, you're pieces of shit. Then you have the other people who are like, we're glad you're so transparent. And we're just so happy to know that, like, you were honest and, it happened and we can all move on. Just be a better person. And it was like, I could see that being a more mature outlook than most people are probably accustomed to in the FGC. And,
it's nice to say all those things like, oh, it's so nice that you're being honest and forthcoming after you've been exposed about this whole thing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's the after you've been exposed part. So it's like,
no, you're still going to catch this punishment though. Like, what are you saying? Like, they should not be absolved of punishment because they were like, hey, we did it. Like, no, first off, they snitched on themselves. Why would you put out a tweet that says, yeah, I'm a cook with Cabal, and then have your boyfriend who's going to play Cabal for you show up on the tweet and be like, yeah, babe, you're going to cook with Cabal. Nah, if you wanted to do this properly, release clips of your boyfriend playing on your account, playing Cabal, doing work with Cabal in random matches that have nothing to do with the tournament, maybe like a week or 2 weeks before, and be like, man, my Cabal is really cooking right now. You know what? I've been cooking this up in the lab for that tournament because, I just don't feel as confident with Sonya right now, which could work because Sonya has been nerfed. So, you could just be like, yeah, I don't feel like Sonya is as strong a character as she used to be, but I feel like Cabal can cover all my bad matchups. And then, whatever. And then, that's it. And then the boyfriend is nowhere near here. He says nothing about this. He sticks to his own shit. And then, you play as Cabal. But nah, you didn't want to get away with it. You didn't want to. You wanted to get caught. You wanted the publicity here. You wanted the clout.
But here's the thing.
You wanted someone to be like, hey.
Here's the thing. If they had won the tournament, like, we're not just talking about the monetary gains. We're talking about, like, because you have to go, oh my God, look at how she bodied all these other competitors. Like, you would have been gassed up. There's a lot, like, even if she wins the tournament, well, he wins the tournament for her, then you have this whole thing of, could you imagine the shitstorm of, wow, some no-name dude beats all the top women of the FGC? You know them sexists are willing to come out of whatever fucking hole they about to crawl out of and just start talking. Because some people, for some reason, who are uninformed, by the way, still think that this dude won. And the dude in question is, he has a very interesting name. It was Outplagued You. It's like Outplayed You, but it's like plague doctor, it's a play on words. It's a thing that they do. Anywho's, it's just so weird that, like, people just started having back and forth with people. And then it got to a point to where somebody came up and said, hey, man, it's not all men. This is not a men thing. This is an issue of one guy doing yada yada yada. And then the person who came out and said, that, men are terrible because of this, then went on a tirade of, well, of course, look at all these people mad trying to get at my mentions. Don't even know what they talking about. Stay mad, losers. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I just feel like y'all are just saying shit because y'all have a mouth at this point. Which, hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna tell you how to tweet. It just seems fucking weird to me. Just seems fucking
Cancel
weird.
culture has gone too far. You see, they're trying to cancel these upstanding citizens here who cheated in this tournament.
But here's the thing, man.
They?
Here's the thing, man. Cancel culture. Look, to be canceled, you have to be important first. It's like when people said, I don't want to be assassinated. It's like, whoa. You're not going to be assassinated. You're going to be murdered because you're not important enough to have the verbiage of assassination affixed to your name post-mortem. I'm sorry. It's just, you got to hit a level of importance in life to be canceled. You can't just be some dude, because then it's just like, that guy's an idiot, blocked. And everyone moves on. No one got canceled because you have to be put on before you can be canceled. You can't cancel a show that never existed. Oh, it was a pilot? It never made air? You can't cancel that. It just got stomped out. It wasn't good enough. Try again.
Exactly.
But ultimately, whatever.
Just because you have a Twitter account doesn't mean that you're known. Yeah, you have like 200 followers, but some of those are bots.
Hell, half of them probably you. On your alts. Hey, you would be surprised how many of these people got so many burners, bro. So many burner accounts, bro.
It's not that serious for me, man. If I got to make a burner account, that means I also got to walk away from this because I'm doing too much.
Go outside, touch some grass. All right, maybe feel on some ass with some consent. Obviously, all right. Let's relax here.
Yeah, with consent.
But
strip clubs.
But if
actually,
but
do we have those open right now? Because oh shit, yeah, we do. Never mind.
Do you remember when they first opened, when we first started reopening up, and then a lot of the city was still locked down? They tried to have them drive through strip clubs.
Oh boy! Shout out to Arietta Adams.
Hey man, get your money how you got to get your money, but that shit was weird to me.
Yeah, pull up and then be like, yeah, let me get a cup full right here. All right, here's $10. All right, wait, what?
Pull up to the second window for your lap dance. Like, come on, man. Like, no. What are we?
Reassess your life if you're at that point.
You are not. You're not lying, bro.
Drive through for some booty.
Hey, can I get a number 9 and some cheek clapping? Yeah, that'd be $14.99 right this way. Would you like to leave a tip? And then she busts it open. Like, is that what you want? Huh? You want to take a left-hand turn, look through a window, and see her pussy popping on her hands? Is that what you want? But hey, I digress. Back to this whole NRS catfish thing. Like, we're at a point now where people are catfishing tournaments. Like, I just don't understand. Like, how do we get here? What have we done that has brought us to this point to where we look up in the morning, get on our feet, get dressed, have breakfast, and say, today's a good day to pretend to be a woman so I can win some esports clout, some NRS Twitter fame, and my girlfriend could put on for the household for Mortal Kombat 11. Like, holy shit, man. And look, I do agree they should probably be suspended. They should probably be put on the back burner. But then the story takes another weird divergent turn. Now, would you agree that these people should have a timeout? They should be put aside. They should be temporarily blacklisted. Maybe not permanently blacklisted, but if it's permanently blacklisted, then hey, this is a hell that they've made for themselves, and it'd be very hard for me to be sympathetic for them. Like, glad you've grown as a person. Glad you've understood. Glad you understand why, what you did was wrong and you're owning up to it, but you gotta go. Bye-bye. Like, I would understand that, but it seems like one of the people that was wronged, Eva Maria, apparently she felt so wronged by being cheated in this tournament, in bracket. She then put out a tweet that said, so when is me and Outplayed use money match? And I'm like, whoa, let me get this straight. The person who has known to cheat, you're challenging to a money match. Best case scenario here, you win. What did you really gain? You beat the guy that most people probably have never heard of, and you make
Well,
$20, $30. Okay, whatever. $100, okay, whatever, chump change, whatever. If you lose, like, what was this for? Now, I do believe that they did play, and I do believe Maria went on to win, but my point is, why are you trying to still give these people who literally tried to rob y'all and the whole community all these platforms and opportunities? And I saw some people coming in to try to defend the fact that she's challenging this person by saying things like, it's because, listen here, you guys know that this will get views. And I was like, I understand. Views and clout is more important than doing what's right and having the intestinal fortitude to just say, no, fuck off, thank you, fuck you, bye, in this situation. Everybody wants to have a little bit of marketability, even if it's off of, once again, some no-name Cabal player that most of us will probably have never heard of, not thought about before, and probably won't think about since. You know, like, I just don't know how we got here. And the NRS
I
community
mean,
has been the drama dome for like the past 2.5 years. And I don't know if MK11 just kicked it into maximum overdrive, but we didn't have this during the first 4 outings of NRS games. Don't get me wrong, there was definitely some shady shit that went on in the community. There were definitely some fuck ass people who have been ruining opportunities for people in this community, but it has never been everybody has gotten the turbo and once again put it into maximum overdrive and has just decided toxicity reigns supreme. Cause some of y'all acting like crackheads out here, and it's getting kind of sad to see. We're bordering
man,
on
they're
trifling at
doing it
this
for the
point.
clout. Doing it for the clout. They're like, look, if I do this, people will see it on Twitter, and then people will pay attention to my play, and then I'll get sponsored, and then I'll go to Evo, and then I'll not make top 8.
Well, here's the thing. Like, people were saying, like, yeah, but you guys know that you're gonna watch it. And I was like, why would I watch someone who I know is a cheat and a sham play anybody for any amount? That doesn't make sense. Now, granted, I understand during the pandemic, maybe some of you have just nothing better to do with your time. Maybe living vicariously through other people and their drama and, their misconduct on and offline is the only way you get your rocks off. And if that's the life you lead, I salute you, but you have a life I never, and I repeat, never want to ever find myself in the crosshairs of being able to relate to. Sorry. Couldn't do it. Just couldn't be me. Just could not be me. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, not during COVID, not post COVID, not at the end of days. Couldn't do it. Not on my deathbed either. Just couldn't be me. But like
I
we
mean,
said,
do you really want to be known as the guy who entered the all woman tournament for his girlfriend because she was like, I don't think I can win. Instead of like boosting her up to be like, nah, babe, we're gonna play this out. We're gonna play some sets, and I'm gonna like train you up, and then you're gonna rock it. Nah, instead of being like, yeah, you're right. I'll just play for you. Don't worry about it.
yeah, there's a lot of different lanes you can look in this story, but none of them are good. None of them speak to the positive parts of the NRS community or to the positive aspects of these people involves character. It's just a giant shit show all around. But hey, the FGC is a bunch of sadomasochists who are just trying to make this thing work. They like punishing themselves. Everybody is the punished version of themselves in the FGC. The shadow still remains cast.
But
Never
before we
forget.
leave the MK, the Mortal Kombat scene topic here, we do got to mention real quick MKX is gonna be on Twitch Rivals. So,
Yep, courtesy of Maximilian Dude and the boys over at Twitch Rivals. And
mhm.
it's going to be the PC version. So I know a lot of people who are trying to sign up for that last chance qualifier thing are going to
Hey,
be. Hmm?
Did they ever release the like final patch for PC? Wasn't there like a whole thing of like the console version has the final patch and the PC version doesn't?
No, they have the final patch.
Okay.
There was one NRS game that I believe is a patch behind, but I want to say that's Injustice Gods Among Us. I don't know why, but I think that was like the first Injustice game.
I thought that was MK, honestly, MKX. I remember it being MKX because it was talked about during the Injustice days, but Injustice 2 days, I mean. But you know, these NRS games are kind of like bleeding together for me right now.
So the Twitch Rivals is going to have a Mortal Kombat X open qualifier hosted by Mr. Aquaman's Coliseum event. That's going to be 2 days before the tournament, which is going to be on May 22nd. The main event, the actual Twitch Rivals showcase, is going to be on May 24th. Now, the reason why this is important is because Mr. Aquaman's Coliseum event is going to be open signups. And I just know there's going to be a good handful of people who decided they were going to sign up for this thing and they're going to be on their PlayStation 4s ready for all the smoke, only to be told yet again, because they didn't read, that it's going to be on PC. And that will be glorious. That's number one. Number two, you notice how they went back to X because 11's not really jiving with a lot of the players right now, and X is much more fast-paced, and let's be honest, I can't speak for everyone, but for the average viewer, I'm not talking about people who are necessarily playing the game, but for the average viewer, Mortal Kombat X is an infinitely more interesting game to watch as a spectator than MK11 has ever been in any iteration of any of the patches it's got.
These are facts. I mean,
If
those are the facts, man.
If you disagree, at me on Twitter, comment in the comment section below, talk in the chat. But either way, like I'm just putting it out there. Anytime I've ever streamed MK11, people are always talking about MKX. When I talk about MKX, the only time we're streaming MKX, the only time we bring up MK11 is when people are saying, "Man, I can't believe we went from this to MK11." Like, I don't know how we dropped the ball so significantly. And look, I don't even think
every game is different.
I don't even think MK11 is a bad game. I want to get that out there as well. I'm just saying, from a spectator's perspective, I could definitely see how X and 9 are infinitely superior from, once again, a spectator's perspective than 11. Because a lot of 11's meta is very stale, it is very dry, and a lot of the characters have a one-dimensional game plan that you typically do not deviate from outside of very, and I do mean very specific matchups. But once again, I digress. May 24th is when the main event's going to be going down. And it's going to have a plethora of players that you guys love to see, whether it be your Forever Kings, your Ragnarok FGCs, Sonic Fox is even involved. You got that 88 guy who's like a crazy Mortal Kombat necro. Like, he never stopped playing X, and that dude is like basically the second closest thing that you're going to see to the Father, the Son, and the fucking Holy Spirit of MKX. Like, it's looking like it's going to be a star-studded extravaganza. Tweety's going to be involved, and that undercard bracket for the final spot to be in Twitch Rivals is absolute bedlam. Like, it's absolutely silly. Because if you go right now, you can look it up. There's 75 people currently signed up for the Last Chance qualifier. And you have Shinblade, you have Coach Steve, you have Footwork, you got Zach Rob, you got people from all types of communities that aren't necessarily NRS heads. But Fierce is there, Gandyman's there. Like, it goes on. It goes on. It is stacked to the T. Damn, Corey the Dragon's busting it out for this? That is good on you, man. Oh, we even got some Atlanta players in there, like Baby. You remember him?
Yeah,
the man with the meanest mustache in the NRS scene. Hey, man, gotta respect the stash, man. You gotta respect it.
He's the one with the long dreads too, right?
Yeah.
That guy. I mean, he reps the NRS scene all the time, so not surprised. But is our resident MK player Ninja Killa gonna be in the tournament though?
Well, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure he was invited, but they did say that there were a lot of people who they did invite who either couldn't go because they had some prior obligations, work, school, another thing that they have to do, yada yada, so on and so forth. So not everybody who you know is going to be involved. So I will
It's
tell you
fair.
that right now. So it'll be very interesting to see how this thing unfolds. I will be watching on the 22nd and the 24th, which basically means in 2 days and 4 days from now. It is very close down the pipeline as of this recording. But that is it for the NRS side of things, because now we have to talk about Ubisoft. Now I know what you're saying.
Ooh.
Ubisoft? Not again. No way. Well, recently they were trending on Twitter because, as you guys know, the summer of last year, in the middle of quarantine, there was a few pivotal changes that went there. Over at Ubisoft, many of its fans had heard that there was a report from Bloomberg's Jason Schreier and French newspaper Liberation exposed a absolute smorgasbord of sexual harassment claims levied against Ubisoft executives. These reports and other accused made big names in the company either have to step down, resign, or be let go due to alleged misconduct and abuse in their power, including Serge Hascoët, Cecil Cornier, Yannis Malat, Maxime Belland, Michel Ansel, Hughes Rigor, and various others, and claims from current employees to this day in 2021, when people are getting vaccinated and the country is returning to normal and the world abroad is finally seeming to find some normalcy. Even after all that, many people who are working there currently says nothing has changed. Even though all these people are leaving and stepping down, the culture apparently remains the same. Which means, look, I understand AAA game development is probably really hard and it's probably a really fucked up job where a lot of people are being abused, forced to work long hours, not being properly compensated, not being treated like a human being, forced to meet these deadlines, forced to have the whip cracked on their back in crunch time for games that they are probably never even going to play themselves. They probably get finally finished with one game only to get RKO'd into another game's development cycle. Because let's face it, folks, we know some of these AAA, like, I can only imagine the type of hell. Like, I hate to revisit NRS, but I can only imagine what type of hell you go through. You just now finished Injustice 2, and now you're doing MK11. That would be
I
rough.
mean, yeah,
That would be
honestly.
rough. Especially if you were doing MK9. You finally get it done. It's like, all right, we need Injustice 1. Now we need MKX. Now we need Injustice 2. Now we need MK11. COVID was probably the best thing that happened to some of these AAA game developers. I know that may be terrible to say, but these are some of the most overworked and underappreciated people on the planet Earth right now, especially given all the hours of content, fun, happiness, and just mind numbingly good times that you have had over the course of the past 25 years. I think it's fairly safe to say that. I don't really think I'm dating myself here or being out of pocket with that, but you know,
I mean,
I think that tracks. But the fact that like,
unfortunately,
oh, go on.
this is the kind of circumstance where it's like, a lot of people are like, hey, my dream job is to work for, a game dev company. And then they get there and it's like, yeah, you're home. You don't have one of those. You live here now. Like you don't stop until the game is done. Like we need to, get this game done by tomorrow. It's like, okay, but we just started it yesterday. Yeah, tomorrow. We got to finish it tomorrow. Cyberpunk 2077 has to be done tomorrow. Come on, guys. Like chop it up. and and then you end up doing
Cyberpunk
all
waits
this.
for no man.
You release the product and then the game is not even like as good as it should have been. And then you have to deal with all the people who are just like on all kinds of social media just shitting on it, and then they're the ones who find out that you are a part of it, and then they shit on you if you have an account, like getting DMs, getting tweets, all that stuff. Like it's a nightmare.
Yeah, and then like even if you're not even part of the development staff and you're just like a voice actor for a character no one likes, people
Yep.
start coming at you sideways because you voiced a character.
Mm-hmm.
Which, once again, that should never even happen. Like I'm surprised that humans haven't learned this yet. But we are a stupid collective of motherfuckers. I'll tell you that right now. But even if you want to peel back the onions on that, there's this whole thing with AAA game development where these people develop these games, get tossed into a multitude of projects, and as we talked about, like, what, 10, 15 episodes ago, they'll be promised all these bonuses, all these great things, but the game has to first hit a particular Metacritic score, and even if you are 1 point away from that score, that bonus, psych, I lied. Your ass is fried. You're not seeing it. You're not getting it. Even if it was something that like happened to be where one reviewer just so happened to have a bad time, and it was just his opinion, it now affects your bottom line. That's kind of messed up.
It's super messed up. And like
it'd be one thing if it was tied to sales figures, which even then, still kind of messed up because, I mean, let's face it, if you crack the whip and you make them release a shit product, even though the developers know that it's not ready for release, but, you know, the big daddy publisher says, nah, it's coming out on May 15th. Sit down, shut up, and like it, knowing that it's
marketing.
rushed.
We have to meet our quota. Come on, guys. It's Q3.
Yeah, not letting the game come out when it's ready. There's a few developers I'm looking at right now. Like, there's a few I'm looking dead in your, you know who I'm talking to. Anywho, but like, then only for it then to come back around and have the game being review bombed, told it was terrible, wasn't good, having, you know, critics go out of their way to be like, man, this was trash. Don't buy this, because that's the kiss of death. When you get those people with millions of subscribers and all the influence in the world telling all the people in their subscriber populace, don't buy this game sucks. Whether you like him or not, if Angry Joe tells 14-year-old Timmy to not buy it, there's a good chance 14-year-old Timmy's telling all his friends, Angry Joe said this game sucks, so you shouldn't play it either. Whether you agree with Angry Joe or not, you know that a lot of these big upper echelon YouTubers held a lot of sway with the kids. And if the younger generation thinks you're ass, trust me, they're very impressionable. Your next game could be fire, but a lot of people might be reluctant to give you a second chance if, well, the last couple of outings have been underwhelming. That's just the long and short of it. So if that happens, then hey, guess what? You just might be shit out of luck. Game's not good, you might be let go. They may not bring you back for a future project, even though all the things that led to you being fired had nothing to do with you personally. But you gotta hold the hell. But that big executive,
on top of that, all of these factors are there. And then in Ubisoft's case, you may be a part of a situation where someone is pressuring you to do something that you don't want to do. You know, someone is like sexually harassing you. Someone's like, you know, trying to blackmail you. All these like crazy things on top of that. And you're somehow just supposed to go home and be like, yeah, I want to go back the next day and keep working there. I'll be okay. I'll be fine.
Whether it's sexual harassment, casual racism, advanced racism, or, you know, just some type of, you know, nonchalant overall hazing at the office, or whether it, you know, divulges into the aforementioned, oh, we're going to withhold your pay. You're going to work super overtime. We're going to give you crunch hours, but no bonus. We're going to make sure that we can put every trial and tribulation in front of you that makes it hell working here. And somehow the people who make these hazardous working conditions that are deteriorating the minds and the mental health and just the emotional state of their employees, they're still able to make millions upon millions of dollars, hands over fists, dap it up with their homies, do whatever the fuck they want, and still have a job in the morning. Meanwhile, you've worked 200 hours in the past 10 days, and you're like, help, I'm dying. And then you wake up with a severance package on your desk in the next morning because your game just so happened to not do as well as the investors would have liked. To no fault of your own, mind you. You're just here to foot the bill. You now have the bill of goods. You are the weakest link, even though you never had any choice to begin with. Game development in the AAA side of things is something like, if you are not prepared to die for your art, I wouldn't even bother getting involved.
This is not an industry where you're getting paid like wages where you're out here, you know, on a fancy yacht every weekend or anything like that either. So some people will literally look at it like, what's the point? What is the point?
And you got to remember, a lot of this stuff, like, you sign all these contracts that, you know, are not even related to necessarily the work itself. Like you got NDAs you have to sign because you're not allowed to talk or communicate about aspects about the game being developed in house. You're not allowed to discuss these things even with like your family because something might slip up and leak. And trust me, we've all seen how these leaks end up going. Someone gets fired, heads roll. It's not good. It's not good. Especially when, you may have told a family member like a very small thing that you probably thought they wouldn't even pay attention to. Then they tell their friends, then it gets on the internet somehow, and then some dude on Reddit named like Clark Howard 637 is over here talking about the ending of the next God of War game, and now you're sitting there without a job and pretty much blacklisted from the entire industry.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I tell you, it's an ugly profession, and it is a dog eat dog world, and there are a limited amount of jobs, very limited. So, hey, look, once again, I wouldn't get involved in that industry from the development perspective unless you're doing something independent and you guys have full control from tippity top to bippity bottom and vice versa. And then if you don't have that, Godspeed, Spider-Man. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure working at a big company like NRS or, Ubisoft looks really good on the resume to be a springboard to other bigger and better ventures. Just know the sweat equity and the suffer equity are almost fucking infinite.
Hey man, some of these companies might be completely fine. They might be pretty cool, like NRS and High Res and studios like that might be completely fine. Treat everyone fine. Be like, hey, you don't need to crunch or anything like that. If you want to get some overtime, you can get it. But if you need to go home and get some rest, go ahead and do that. Some of them may be like that, but we're hearing from from a lot of these bigger ones like Ubisoft. It's not a fun experience, and you literally have to have like an existential crisis here of like, what am I doing? Like where am I going?
Is this really what I want in life? No.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's not all doom and gloom when it comes to gaming because we actually have some positive news. Potentially. Graphics cards might be coming back sooner than you think. Why? Well, all the cryptocurrencies are down like 30, 40, 50% right now. Like that rug has been pulled out from underneath the cryptocurrency people and the Bitcoin farmers real fast. Now, that being said, we all know that this has kind of been basically a meme at this point, where, let's face it, when you have one of the people who is basically the face of Dogecoin right now, not by any fault of Dogecoin themselves. It's just the fact that Elon Musk is as big as he is, and he invested in it, and he wanted to go out in front of the world on Saturday Night Live and tell everyone how good it is. And then he used the phrase, "Yeah, it's a hustle," which then got people thinking, stroking their chin, and now people are very, very, very skeptical of it as a whole. And then some people realized we're just holding on to this forever, and it's not going to do anything. And a lot of people have decided to pull the plug on it. Now, some of these cryptocurrencies aren't necessarily on life support by any means, but they were definitely hit very hard. So, look, I understand that a lot of people's reason for using cryptocurrency is because it's not regulated by the government, and the government can't tell you this, that, and the third, yada, yada, so on and so forth. But now the government has also said they're thinking about putting some regulations on cryptocurrency, which basically there's a piece of the demographic who literally was only invested in cryptocurrency to avoid government regulation. And if now governments are going to be able to try to regulate cryptocurrency, you see how it defeats the point of having the cryptocurrency in the first place for a lot of people in the demographic of cryptocurrency owners. So now, who knows? Who knows where we go from here? My only thing is, I hope the floor falls completely out from under them. I want the foundation of cryptocurrency to just go in the hole. I'm not saying I want you people who are Bitcoin miners to go homeless. I just want my graphic cards to be affordable at MSRP. That's all I want.
I want mine to be around. Like you, like stop buying them because they're like, yeah, I'm gonna mine me some Bitcoin off of this. Make Bitcoin 2 cents. Actually, yeah, make Bitcoin 0.2 cents so that all of you can stop this nonsense. And if we can buy graphics cards and have build ourselves some regular PCs for regular PC things like Pornhub.com. Thank you. Jeez.
Yeah, man. The titties and the booty got to look right on my 3080, bro.
Yeah, it's got to be 86K. All right. I don't
Uh,
settle for 4K around here. Like, I got to see the pixels
when I
in
when I
every.
when I put on my VR headset, when she decides to squirt, I want the water spout on my VR headset to go. I want that nozzle to hit me in the face. I want it to be a 6D experience.
Exactly. Also, look, where are all these people coming from who are like, hey, let's not support Bitcoin or let's not support cryptocurrency because cryptocurrency is the devil, and it should all go down the drain
These are
and all
the
this.
same. No,
Like,
these are the same people who said the internet's the devil. These are the same people who decided to say video games are the devil. These are the same people who think that they're putting stuff in the water to turn the frogs gay. These are the same people who are out there thinking that somehow, some way, that if you get the COVID vaccine, your body's gonna have 5G internet reception. These are the
I'm not even
same.
talking about those people. I'm talking about the pretentious people who are making these like sly, like throwing shade at people who bought into like any cryptocurrency. Like, yeah, y'all real stupid out here. Oh, you really thought that you were going to be a billionaire off of Bitcoin. It's like, first off, it already happened to people. Like,
Yeah,
what are you,
that's what I was gonna say.
what are you saying?
There are plenty of success stories from all these cryptocurrencies. Plenty of them. But don't get me wrong. Remember that one esports cryptocurrency that everyone was trying to push?
Oh, boy.
Shout
Where
out to
is he
Justin
now?
Wong, baby. But he's
Where
doing fine.
is Slap
He's
Chi
doing fine.
now?
Like it's just weird that some of these cryptocurrencies come up, get up, they pay a bunch of people to shill it, and then out of nowhere, either it turns into Dogecoin or it goes the way of the dodo. It just is what it is. But that
What's the
aside,
name of that currency again?
bro, your guess is as good as mine because I don't even remember.
It was something like esports related. Can't remember though. Um,
Well, here's the thing: was it esports ecosystem?
think so. I think that was
But
it. Yeah,
that's the company. But I forgot what their cryptocurrency was called.
I think the company and the currency were the same name.
Because it was supposed to be like it was going to be the cryptocurrency to pay out players.
Maybe it was like eCoin or something basic like that. That I'm not thinking about. But, hold on.
Because esports ecosystem, right?
Yeah,
Their
esports
last
ecosystem.
their last tweet was a retweet of Hollywood Rob TV in 2019. December 5th, 2019. And there was a month between that when they retweeted Coach Steve by saying, "This is the hardest pool I've had in my 10 years of competing." And then before that, the last interaction they had was a few days before where they were just retweeting Coach Steve and Sherry and a couple of tournaments that were going on at that point. And then they don't have another tweet until like June and July of 2019. They've been comatose for a minute.
Yeah, they disappeared. So the last thing I've heard is, yeah, we don't know. And the people who are in the know, they have the details, but they're not gonna reveal that to you. Hey, look,
Because you
she's
can go to
cool.
because you can
We're
go to their
cool with that
website.
chi.
Because you can
Website
go to
is
their
still up.
website. Yeah, no, you can go to their website.
Jeez.
It just says the site can't be reached because it don't exist. Because it's definitely dead. But when you look at some of their media posts, you know what? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do y'all one better. I'm gonna put it on stream. When you look at some of their media posts, you look at this and you tell me this don't look like scam likely. Look at that. Look at that, man. Like even the font looks scam likely. You can't make this stuff up, folks. But hey, get the bag however you get the bag. I mean, look,
Whatever you need to do, I guess.
if you can shield Raid Shadow Legends for 40 videos in a row, shill Raycon, the worst earbuds I have ever heard from a sound quality perspective, for 40 videos.
Are they
Then
really
yeah,
that bad?
Okay, so if you want me to give you the long and short of it, the people have looked at like, noise graphs and like, things where you can tell what the headset's actually doing to the sound. All they did was they took the mid and the treble and they turned it all the way down and then took the bass and just jacked it to astronomical levels. I'm talking about through the roof. It's all bass all the time. There is no sound quality management. There is no profile management. It's just crank the bass up. And yeah, bass heads will love it, I guess. But if you have anything that's not necessarily bass heavy and,
Mhm.
relies on the other sounds to make a full audio experience, it would make any audiophile want to vomit. But
Okay.
yeah.
That's yeah. Okay. I get it.
So,
That makes sense to me. So
okay.
I
So the way I could explain it is Raycons are what people who hate beats try to tell you beats are.
yeah. Sounds that's exactly what I thought about when you said that. So yeah, I'll avoid those.
Yeah, it's pretty oof. But every YouTuber in the book will probably tell you that pretty good. They are the Raid Shadow Legends of headphones.
Sponsored by Raycon.
In some cases, both. But it be like that when it be like that, especially when it be like that. But yeah, like cryptocurrency is a whole weird bag in and of itself. And the thing about it is kind of like it's fine when there's one or two, but when you start not having like no standards and it just starts being like, the wild west of who can make a cryptocurrency, and if people start buying in, every other cryptocurrency hurts the validity and the promise and the packing power of your cryptocurrency. It's kind of like, remember when everything used to be on Netflix?
Oh yeah.
Now you have Netflix, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Hulu. You got Crunchyroll. You got Amazon Prime. You got High Dive. Like
Discover Plus.
Discover Plus. Like actually, you know what? Let me find a list of subscription services, and we'll just go through it together.
No, that's too long. That's entirely too long now.
All right, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad.
Oh, word. Oh
Eh,
man. It's going to be a long list. You're going to be surprised. You're going to be very surprised by some of the things that are actually subscription services. Stars Plus, Showtime.
Oh yeah, HBO Max, Fubo. Bruh, Sling is still a thing? No.
Yes. Yes.
No. Peacock. ESPN Plus. ESPN has a. All right, you got
Yeah,
it.
that's the thing that comes with Disney Plus. That's the thing that got bought out. You can get it with Hulu, but it's still technically its own service. So
The fact that they got people playing for YouTube TV, I still think is the biggest scam on the planet. But I'm gonna let
mm,
y'all rock. I'm gonna just let y'all rock on that. Weird Demito, Omega weird, but yeah, like as you know, now that there's so many different services, and a lot of them have a lot of shows split up. And in the case of some animes, it's a rare thing that happens where one will have seasons 1 and 2, but another one will have seasons 3 and 4, and it's just really weird. And Amazon Prime loves to have their Amazon Video stuff behind like that vault of, yeah, we're not sharing this with anyone. It's ours forever.
yep.
Even though, like, I'm pretty sure they discontinued like adding things to Amazon Video.
Mm,
Are they doing anything more with that?
Prime Video?
Yeah.
Yeah. Invincible is on Prime Video, man.
Is it?
Invincible, The Boys, like they have originals that they put out. It's just that they don't have a lot of series that they buy and they're just like this is going to be on Prime Video and only on Prime Video. There are a lot of series that are on Prime Video that end up also on like Hulu and stuff like that.
See, I didn't even know about that. I was in a Discord watch party when I was watching Invisible. Invincible was pretty cool, man. I still recommend it, by the way.
Yes, it's very good.
And the changes that
Can't
they've
wait for
made
new
from the
seasons.
comic are
Amazing.
I will say this
Perfect.
is this is the definitive version of the story as far as I'm concerned. Now that
Yeah.
could change in season 2 or 3. They could do something where I'm like, shut up, this sucks now. But I'm
Yeah.
still rocking with them right now. They have
As
done
a man
nothing.
who knows a lot of like plot points that are in the series as a whole, nah, they're not gonna fumble this bag because there's too much stuff that's just too interesting. One, they already have set up, and two, that they can actually introduce in the show, and they can change it a little bit, but it'll still be like, wow, I cannot believe that's a character.
It really be like that. Would it be like that?
It's gonna be great, man. Yo, when Omni Man comes back, bro, when you find out what he's out there do, oh come on, man, it's gonna be amazing.
Hey man, I've been waiting. Now, the next thing I do have to say, since we're talking about superheroes with Invincible, is the DC animated Injustice movie. That's right. They have announced that Injustice is coming to the animated feature set of the DC universe. And to be honest with you, I only have one problem with that. Like, on paper, sounds like an omega, mondo, ultra sick way to experience the Injustice mythos. The only problem is, wouldn't it just be the game again? Because we already got this in a movie-ish format with NetherRealm Studios and Justice 1. We've seen it.
Hmm.
We've seen the comics, which, once again, you can have a comic and a show. See Invincible. You can have a comic and a movie. You can do that. You can have a comic and a video game. Once you could do all these things. But when you go from a video game, which adapts itself into a comic, getting a TV movie when the video game is already a movie,
Right.
it's going to be very interesting to see how they go about this. Because don't get me wrong, the DC animated movie division has been making slam dunk hits for like the past decade. And why they don't put these in theaters or push these as the main source of DC mythos content, I have no idea. I have no idea why they put more time trying to tell us to watch shit on the CW or watch the gobbledygook that they put in the theaters with the live action DC extended universe, but the simple fact that their animated feature films have been anywhere from godlike to amazing, and then there's Batman Hush.
Yeah.
Like, don't
Uh,
get me wrong, Batman Hush wasn't even bad, but it was just such a mid that like everyone hyped that movie up as it was going to be the one, and then it was just like a fart in the wind.
sure was. And there was also Batman Ninja.
Hey, I like
Was
that
another
movie.
one. It was okay.
It was like, don't get me wrong, it didn't do anything amazing, but I liked it. It was okay. But everything else has been pretty good. I liked it. Been great. Superman
So
got a really dope arc.
if they do justice, an animated movie wouldn't make sense because like you mentioned the comics, and like the comics have a lot of like lore that wasn't in the actual like story mode in the game, but was like mentioned here and there. So if they
Where's the
make a
thing
movie,
though?
they could include that stuff to make it different, but it would have to be a series to include all of it, especially because
Yeah, but it could
yeah.
be 3 movies. They could do that. They could go a different route. Maybe Injustice 2 is not canonical for the movies. Maybe they handled how the whole crisis situation very differently. Maybe Superman doesn't turn evil like overnight. Maybe there's a gradual process where he starts seeing more disdain, distrust, seeing how someone
Well,
else is able to kill, and then he finally snaps. Like, there's many ways they could play this that don't have to necessarily be what we got in Injustice. But at the same time, when video games get adapted into literally anything, I get worried. It's just something that I feel in my loins.
well, look, if you want a story about evil Superman and an alternate universe, an alternate timeline,
Can't you just bust out Netflix at this
interesting.
point?
Wait, what? Netflix?
There's some show on Netflix that's basically about if Superman got annoyed. Technically, The
Mm.
Boys counts, but that's not the show I'm talking
So
about.
I mean, I was talking about Lois or Superman and Lois, like the actual
I actually have not seen that one.
good. I didn't know that it wasn't finished because it got released to what's it called? It got released to HBO Max briefly. The first 5 episodes were released, and I didn't know that was where they left off. That they only released like half the season, and then maybe like COVID happened or something, and they released the rest later. Yeah, so first 5 episodes were on HBO Max. Watch those. The like 6th episode started this week. so so they still have to finish that off, but it's really good. Like the concept behind it is that there are a lot of moving pieces in like the overall story. One of them being that there is a man from an alternate timeline who has ended up here who hates Superman and dresses up as like as Doom Guy, or basically like a Spartan with like a super suit. And he's trying to like kill Superman because in his timeline, it's basically the Injustice timeline where Superman's evil, and they have a cutscene. They have a scene where they show Superman being evil, where the military is at war with Superman, right? And they're like, they've got their guns out and their armor on and everything like that. And like, oh my god, where is he? Where is he at, or whatever? And then Superman just appears above them. And they're like, oh, we have to stop him. And they try to shoot him, and then he just laser beams all of them. It just looks so cheesy and hilarious because it's like TV budget for the special effects. So like the special effects aren't the best, but it's good. The
Now,
story is really good.
there is one thing I really hope that they do, if they are going to do this animated movie. Show us the parts that the game only told us about.
Yes.
Like, show us what happened to Green Arrow. Show us that incident.
Oh, and Injustice 2?
No, remember in the first game, Green Arrow gets smoked off camera.
Oh yeah, yeah. Show us these things.
Like there's a lot of things that happens. Like, oh yeah, show us when the Yellow Lantern Corps basically was just like, yep, I'm with Superman. Show us how Jordan go through PTSD and become a fear mongering Yellow Lantern. Show us these things. You have the chance to fill in all the gaps. You want to make it multiple movies? Be my guest. Hell, have Darkseid do something besides being a $4.99 unlockable character in the sequel.
Yeah, did they ever like show anything in the story or the comics that related to Darkseid being in the game? Because I don't remember.
Now in the comics, maybe I had not read all the comics, but in the game, absolutely not. In the game, in the first game, Darkseid was an interactable. He was just chilling. Right. You get knocked through a portal. He zaps you, punches you a couple times, and throws you back through the portal. The second game, he's a DLC character, and I believe it was a pre-order bonus. Actually, now that I think about it, and not in the story mode at all. Speaking of which, NRS, y'all got to work on your storytelling because I'm getting tired of this. You got to play a character for 3 fights because at this point, it makes it to where half the roster is just jobbers because you know whatever character you're playing is going to be the hero, and therefore your heroes are always going to win. Like, if that's the case, just have the villains win more often. You know, it's okay if we play both sides of the roster. It's fine. There's no technically no protagonist that we're playing as. We're here to watch a story and, progress through the game. Now, all that being said, I do think that, when your storytelling has peaked in MK9 and Injustice 1. I think it was probably the best that you've done. But in subsequent games, it's not like you've done a terrible job, but I just do believe that don't have me like the Aftermath DLC where you had to play a Shao Kahn and Sindel. Yes. Yeah, more of that, please. 'Cause you showed us that we can do it. You're open to the idea.
Man, story-wise, I want to make this very clear. Story-wise, let's not do more of that. But gameplay-wise, yes, let us play, the villains. Don't give us a story where you're like yeah, this character, she was
Well, that's
good
what I
the whole
mean.
time. You
That,
bring her
that no,
back to
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about from a gameplay perspective. You're allowed to give us villains as playable characters. Now, the other thing I want to just say, get off my chest. I've hated it since NKX. If a character is supposed to be a god, a con, a legend, a goat, don't have him have to fight someone who's just okay or decent or nice with the hands. But because he's the good guy and that's who I'm playing as in this chapter, I now have to beat the Omega God? That doesn't make sense. I still don't understand how Kung Jin just gave Kodokan the hands in MKX. Let's not act like that didn't happen.
I
You
mean, you
dusted that
understand
man
it
up.
completely. Look at Total Con for the rest of the story in both games, like the jobber all the way through.
Man was in a wheelchair for all of 11, bro.
Exactly.
How you gonna do this to the sun god? The blood god. He was 3 gods in the last game. 3!
Crazy.
He was the god of sun, he was the god of war, he was the god of blood, and now my man in a wheelchair because he got bodied and hit with the hit with the Bane backbreaker. Man didn't even get hit with the hammer like that, bro. My man got hit with the my posture. Oh.
He got beat up by his own girlfriend. Literally, he's like, I'm so happy that you're finally alive again. Now he's like, now we must go. And she's like, I don't really agree with what you're doing right here, so I'm gonna go do something else. Nah, I will stop you. Sorry about that, honey. I've got to go do my thing. And it's just like, so she's gonna become a revenant again? That?
It's like I really don't know what's going on with some of the decisions that they make over in NRS. Like from a storytelling perspective, it kind of just sucks. Like it just sucks Mondo dick. Like MK9, great. MKX, passable. Some iffy things there, but all right, fair enough. You didn't do anything like too malicious. MK11 was like, what perverse lore paint sniffing? What are y'all doing over here? Injustice
And MK11 Aftermath was worse.
I feel like Aftermath tried to autocorrect things, and then it dropped the ball in so many other areas. It was like, all right, guys, it's okay to say that y'all lost the sauce. It's all right. It happens to a lot of game developers. It's cool. It's cool. But I also feel as though it's not necessarily fair for me to criticize them because, as we said before, and don't get me wrong, I'm gonna criticize them. But I won't say it's entirely fair for me to go super in on them because you know how hard it is to keep coming up with these stories every 2 years? That's why I said COVID was probably the best thing to happen to NRS. They get a break, which they're probably not using as a break. I'm sure they're probably just working these people in triple, double, quadruple overtime yet again. But I would like to believe with this little bit of extra time in between development cycles, we might actually be able to get a very sound and cohesive project in their next outing.
Let's see.
I had to knock on wood right there. I had to make sure that we didn't jinx it. But yeah, I know we've been dunking on a lot of NRS things today, but it just seemed like this was their week. It was their. I think this is the second week in a row. This might be the second episode in a row where we've had nothing negative to say about Twitch. This is a monumental thing. I don't think we've had this before. Normally, there's something that we could just dunk on Twitch about, and they've kept their nose clean for 2 weeks in a row.
I don't know, man. Did you see that Ninja Adidas commercial that Twitch is trying to peddle to me?
No, I have not. I have not.
It's like the evolution of Ninja, and oh god, it's like the evolution of Ninja, right? And then Ninja talks about how, like, you know, his life has changed and all these other crazy things, and then it shows him with like celebrities and stuff, and then he busts out the Adidas out of the box, like the custom Ninja Adidas.
Is it the Impossible is Nothing commercial?
I think so, yeah.
Hold on. Does it start off with him like young on a subway?
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna have it playing in the background. All right, continue on with your story.
Yeah, so he does all of that, and he busts out the shoe, and he's like, "You see, which has made everything possible for me in my life." And I'm just like, it just doesn't feel right. You know, like this commercial feels very, very odd. Like by the end of it, I was just kind of like, what is the message they're trying to tell me here? Because like it just seems like Ninja got a great opportunity from being good at games, and then he's like, "Yeah, now I can change the world." And it's like, hold on, buddy, no, you can't. Like it's not like that.
This commercial just seems weird to me. I
Yeah,
don't know. Like I just don't. I don't know. It mm, just seems weird. But that
seeing
being,
Baby Ninja was cool, but then it shot up to like current Ninja and him busting out the shoes and stuff like that, and it was just like showing him as like basically like a world celebrity and whatnot. And I'm like, this is confusing.
I just think it's weird because like I opened up another one. This one is for Muhammad Salah, right? The soccer player.
Mhm. Yeah,
And it's literally just trying to show the growth of being from the bottom and then where you are. But like when it comes to gaming, it doesn't really translate because he's the same person. It's
yeah.
just more people are watching a website page with his face on it. Like with soccer,
Well,
you're showing the growth of your abilities, the hardships of, you know, having to actually train. Like you don't really show the hardships of gaming.
I
Because
don't think they even showed Ninja having like hardships in gaming. I don't think they even showed him playing games for longer than like 1 second. But like it started off with him like with championship trophies and stuff like that. So I'm like, wait, like what was the struggle?
it just started off as a collection of selfies and then some stoic, I'm walking very slowly. Then he pulls out a PC case with shoes in it, and then he's dapping up some celebrities, and it's a montage of people that aren't ninja, and then just some random like child in a chair going, impossible is nothing, wearing ninjas like cosplay head garb, and
Right.
it's like this seemed like more like a lateral move than a bottom to the top story. But you know, Adidas is gonna do what Adidas is gonna do. Like, who am I to tell them that they're wrong? You know. Also, and so impossible is nothing has a very interesting thing because it shows like a team or a person, and there is a team I believe that plays rugby in New Zealand called the All Blacks. So the thumbnail says All Blacks, and it's just interesting to me.
Yeah. The All Blacks. Okay. Well,
Like you can see that being emotionally charged, but like the Damian Lillard one is also weird. But it also shows him
nothing.
like doing some activist stuff and giving back to charity. Like it's not all just hi. I play video games and I do nothing. But then it's like a kid in the like rapping. I mean, that could be Lillard. I don't know, but you never know these days. I
Right.
don't know. Adidas has some weird commercials. I can't really say it's Ninja's fault for it being weird. These are just some weird commercials.
Yeah, that's true.
But they do come off as very pretentious. I will give Adidas that. Y'all kind of pretentious right now. Especially since
I
y'all
don't know.
made so many of them.
I felt like that part of it was actually just Ninja. It's like thinking of like some of the hot takes he's gotten in trouble for, and like the recent like meme that he has started with his weird tweet about like
Didn't
his
he say something
doing and
about
like
like he was like playing a video game and his girlfriend came in with the top off and like asked him about something?
yeah, she came in topless and like gave him a sandwich and then like sucked his dick or something like that. And I'm like, bro, we get it. You're married and you play video games. Awesome. That's great. But is this like what is the point of tweeting this? Like we just kind of like assume that your girlfriend would do these nice things for you when it comes to like
Nah.
video game or with your wife.
She was mid fellatio as he was tweeting it. I'm sure.
Maybe, but like still, dude, we get it. Married, your wife is attractive and you play video games and that's how you make your money and you're rich. Like we get it, dude. We get it. Man, even Elon Musk isn't out here like, yeah, Grimes is giving me the top while I smoke the weed. Like, nah. Like, we get that you guys do that, but like, I don't care to hear about it. And so he got made fun of for it. Like gamers, isn't this the ultimate fantasy? And it's like, bro, we're in 2021. Ultimate fantasy is not that you as a man have your wife just top you off while you sit there and play video games and she made you a sandwich. It's like you live in the 90s fantasy right now, man.
Look, hey, you get to do whatever it is you want to do.
Exactly.
But
Being
like,
ninja, you get to do whatever you want to do. I mean, like that was a given, dude. He started playing with Drake. That was a given. I was like, yeah, he's got
if
the
you
world in
use
his
your
palm.
mind and take a game at a time, you can do anything that you wanna do. Thank you, Steve. You taught me a lot as a kid. Oh man. Speaking of which, Blue's Clues got a reboot. I don't know if that's doing any well, but God bless them.
Yeah, haven't heard much about it. Like I saw like an initial thing when it first came out, and I don't know, maybe it's doing fine.
Maybe. 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 But the last thing I want to talk about before we get up out of here is why don't Microsoft and Sony just do waitlists? Like, look, give Apple all the flack in the world because Apple, they do some shitty stuff over there over at Apple. But at the very least, even if something is sold out or is very scarce, you can go ahead, put it in your cart, buy it, and you'll get it when you get it later on. They'll give you notifications, they'll give you email updates, but at the very least, you can still buy it. You can still put yourself on a wait list. And don't get me wrong, we already know that this infrastructure already exists. And besides, you can already just, instead of, saying that, oh, well, we're afraid of bots, bots are winning right now any damn way, so you have nothing to lose. That's number one. Number two, you can have it be a loyalty reward system. Like, oh, you want to buy a PS5? Well, link your PSN to your Amazon account or whatever the fuck, or hell, let you buy PS5 and other hardware through the in-game store or the on-console store, whether it be for PlayStation or Microsoft, so I can buy these things and put myself on a wait list. You'd be like, oh, this person's been a PlayStation Network subscriber for X amount of years. All right, then that's perfectly fine. We'll let you buy so-and-so limited to however many purchases you want to limit people during a pandemic and the fact that a lot of these consoles are limited right now. I think that this is something that they should probably look into, get people on a wait list. Therefore, bots have to go to the back of the line. Thus, you solve the scalping problem, not necessarily almost overnight, but I'm pretty sure once you start knocking this thing out and getting it more optimized, yeah, this whole scalping thing would be a thing of the yesteryear. But I guess having people scalp makes them more money. So
Yeah,
I suppose that's the nail on the head. Why would we stop scalpers when we can make more money off of people having to double dip?
I don't know. Like as far as the scalpers thing goes, uh, if there's a way to implement some sort of limit on however many you could buy, that would allow them to initially like get people who like want this immediately, let them have it. Then people who waited a little bit too long, like I don't know, they waited like 2 weeks or something like that. Then they're like, oh crap, and then they sell out, and then afterwards, do whatever the fuck you want, uh, have a healthy amount for regular people, or I don't know, allow scalpers to have some, and then like have have like a second wave that you can like give to people so that they can buy if they missed out or whatever. But do something about scalpers first, like for like the initial wave, because then people are just going to be like me, and they're just going to be like, yeah, I'll wait until the updated version of the console comes out. I'm not even going to be the beta tester for this console. I'll wait.
I have
There's not a lot of
been
games.
I have been the launch guinea pig for, let's see, the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 4, the Switch, the Xbox. Was the Xbox Elite?
Yeah.
The Xbox Elite and the Wii U. And I feel like the only one I really got burned on was the Xbox 360 and the Wii U. 360
Boy, Xbox
because Red Ring of
360.
Death,
Red Ring of
and
Death.
and the Wii
Don't put it on
U
your carpet.
and the Wii U because I mean it's the fucking Wii U. That was an L off top. And yeah, I have not bought a single console for the current generation. I do have both controllers. I do have a DualSense and a Xbox Series X controller. I do have both of these for my PC gaming needs. But I digress.
Right.
What's up?
I don't know. So like the waitlist thing actually is a good idea for this situation that they've gotten themselves into, where like worldwide people are like, "Yo, when are you guys gonna get some more of those PS5 so I can buy one?" Like, why is it so hard for me to get a PS5? And it's been months, like that kind of shit, right? Like PS5 is being sold like drugs. Like, why is that? Why is that a thing? At the very least, have a wait list so that as soon as they're available, it's like, no, 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 this person was already in line, got it. But hey, you could also do that with graphics cards, but like we're gonna get one.
Nah, man. They're making so much money hand over fist because of this Bitcoin thing and people wanting to mine that, nah, bro. For them, it would be financial suicide for them to turn that down. Especially when you find out that some of these people are making these deals with certain people to just buy off the truck. It's like, come on, bro. Like, we ain't even had a chance.
Honestly, yeah.
It's like, we didn't even have a fucking chance. Those things never even made it to the destination that they're supposed to get to. El Terrible. It's not good, man. It's not good. But do you have anything you want to close out this week?
I will say yet again, we are not going to talk about Israel and Palestine because one, we're not that podcast, and two, everybody makes it seem like they got the right answer for this very complicated situation. Like, yeah, don't worry, my opinion is what's going to solve the war. And it's like, all right,
So
cool.
these people have been squabbling for more than a few decades, and like
Exactly. I'm not going to read your tweet and be like, oh, I see it now. I understand. The conflict is over.
Did you see what Israel with the is like? Like every major country has a verified account that's basically related. Some people say it was related to their governments. Israel put out a tweet that was them just putting a bunch of the rocket emoji.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, they really out. And then they ended the thread with saying, these are all the rockets that were used to kill innocent Israeli people. And then people were like, nah, that's not what you meant. You were saying you about to rocket them back. We could read it between the lines. And then you had that whole discourse that happened in that thread,
And then they did. So
now here's the thing. I believe everybody should be free. Like the fact that, you have one group of people basically saying, yeah, man, we're going to just wipe all you guys out. Because if you look at the statistics on who's getting wiped out over there, the Israelis suffered some casualties, but it ain't like what they doing to that other side, bro. Them Palestinians is getting milli fucking rocked. But hey, look, we will see where this transpires. Because I don't know if you've seen, but there's been some WWE wrestlers. There's been some people on Instagram.
bro, yeah.
I mean, even Rihanna has come out and said that that they either they don't know too much, or they want they're pro-Israeli, or they say free Palestine, and no matter what they say, people start getting shooked and baptized and cooked.
Right.
Rihanna had
all
the
you
most
people who are yelling at your like celebrity crush, or whoever you stand or whatever, saying like, why aren't you talking about this? Why do you want to hear what they're gonna say when they're literally like, I don't know.
Bruh, you can't laugh at who gives a fuck about what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this. You can't laugh at that joke, and they'd be like, Rihanna, why? That's stupid. That's
exactly.
stupid.
Where's Ja?
Like, where's Riri? Where's Beyonce? Like, no, where's Jay-Z? Like, no.
Exactly.
If you want to get informed on your own. But like, we're at a point now where it's just such an inflammatory subject, and like, I don't have the patience to deal with the nonsense that's going to be in the comment section about that. That's number one. And number two, I'm just trying to have a good time talking about video games right now. When we get back to the politics, we might touch on it. We might. But I do believe that everyone should be free. That's number one. Number two, thing I think is really strange about the situation about Rihanna, we talked about this last week, but very briefly to recap, she basically just said that the loss of life is terrible, and people on both sides are dying, and this is very sad. And people are saying, "How dare you turn your back on Palestine?" I was like, "That's not.
It's like, wait, huh?
That's definitely not what she said." Like that, I don't even know how you can misconstrue those words to get to the conclusion that you got to. And a bunch of people were jumping all over it to the point to where she was trending on Twitter for a few hours just because people were like, "I can't believe you went from free Palestine to this cowardless, spineless defense." And I was like, to say that loss of life is bad?
This is where it's okay to be mean on the internet because you got to look at that person and be like, "Can you read? Hello?" Like, wait,
Reading is supposed to be fundamental, and clearly you don't have the fundamentals, my guy.
right? Like reading
You on the L
comprehension,
train.
please.
You are on the L train.
Exactly.
But honestly, Americans, we have so many fucking problems over here. Let's fix our shit before we start worrying about what's going on over there, please. Thanks. Thanks, appreciate that. You,
Yep.
you got Black Lives Matter on one side, you got Stop Asian Hate over here. You got Hispanic kids locked in fucking cages near the border. There's a lot of shit over here that you need to look at. All right.
Oh, speaking of that, Andre Brown Jr., the cop who shot him in the head in his driveway, I believe, and killed him. They are getting off, last I heard, because apparently they did not, do anything wrong.
Well,
So
I mean, look, we got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene running around in office like it's out like they
uh,
out here. Like you got to remember
she
that.
harassed AOC outside her office. Like, hello, that's a deranged woman right there. She's over here just yelling all kinds of like nonsense outside this woman's office door while she's trying to work. It's like, what about you, Marjorie? Like, don't you have a job too? Like, you.
This is my job. Get into the bottom of the truth. Now, what are you doing in there, AOC?
She literally opened the like mail flap and was like yelling in there and shit like that, and I'm just like this is comical.
I'm telling you, Marjorie Taylor Greene is just a Scooby Doo movie villain.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But anyways, this has been episode 34 of your favorite podcast, the Clout.WAV Experience. Episode 34 is now in the books. As Subtle Fraudulence would probably say at this point, the internet is a
That
mistake.
was a mistake.
And unfortunately, it's one that we cannot press Control Z on. And well, we bid you farewell and a good day and an even better tomorrow. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the chat for the Coliseum, which is in 2 days. See you Saturday, kids.